I want to break a chain. Where's a good place to start? Making strength. We're going to talk about that in this video. Hey, if you're new to the channel, thanks for stopping by. My name is Eric Moss. I'm a personal trainer, motivational speaker, and a modern-day performing strongman. If you're unfamiliar with what a modern-day performing strongman is, picture the strongmen of old. Legends of the past like the mighty Adam and Alexander Zass. They would perform real-life feats of strength as part of a live show. I do a similar thing, but with a modern-day twist. Some of the feats of strength I've performed in front of a live audience include things like bending steel bars, breaking chains with my chest, twisting horseshoes, rolling up frying pans, driving nails to wooden boards by hand, and even holding back a high-performance motorcycle. Now, being a modern-day performing strongman and the fact that there's not a whole lot of us around these days to answer people's questions, in an effort to grow my YouTube channel by giving you guys what you want, I started a YouTube series called Ask Eric Moss, where I would invite you to ask me a question by dropping it in the comments below. And when you do that, I try to get back to you with your very own custom video answering your question, as well as anybody else that happens to have the same question. Pretty neat, right? So this question comes from at Twisted Trailer Park Tales 2126. And they said, another informative post. Thank you. I have a question maybe you can help with. I want to break a chain. Where is a good place to start? Making strength. Thank you for asking that. Now, for those that aren't really that familiar with him, Twisted Trailer Park Tales is actually an up-and-coming modern-day performing strongman themselves, and I'm pretty sure that they have already figured this part out because I seem to remember them commenting on other videos that I've released that they broke chains and they were thanking me for my help. So thank you for asking that. And even though you've already kind of gotten this figured out, I wanted to give this piece of advice anyways, because I know other people probably have a similar question. So the chains that I break are unwelded links. And I don't know the name. I mean, we call it jack chain. I think that that's what the trade name is. And I just have like a big spool of it at home that I just pull a length off and I clip it, and that's what I pack into my bags when I'm traveling out for a show. Now, a good general rule is, well, start with something that you're pretty sure you can handle without issue. And as far as like what constitutes a show feat is, what is something you can reasonably, reliably get that is still going to be impressive to the audience? So like going to the first one where I say something that you're pretty sure you can handle without issue. When I first started working with my mentor, the late great New Jersey Superman Greg Matonic, the very first thing he had me do was bending steel. And what he started with was something he was pretty sure that I could handle. And I don't remember the exact dimensions of it, but it was like a longer piece that was half-inch round. And the main reason he had me start with that was because steel itself has these perceptions of being impossible. It's hard, but it's not impossible. Like many things in life, which is one of the reasons I use it as a metaphor during my motivational speeches. But he needed me to be able to wrap my mind around the fact that, yes, I can bend steel and it is possible. And then gradually over time, it would be the same width, but it would be a little bit shorter. You lose a little bit of leverage. Now, he would get it to about, I want to say it was about like that, right? And he once told me to like not disclose the exact length, but like if it's, let's say, 4, or if it was around 5 feet long, he would say, make it just a teeny bit shorter, make it like 4 foot 11 inches or 11 and a half inches or something like that. Because people only hear the first part or something, where I took that a step further. I don't even tell people how long it is. And truth be told, it doesn't even matter. I'm doing the half-inch flats. No, I'm doing flat stock. And as far as the length, I just have them cut it in a way that I can get the most steel bars out of a single 20 length piece, so that there's not a lot of leftover steel, because that's a waste of money. But the perception of the steel is that it's impossible, and it looks impressive to the audience. And when I bend it and I pass it around and they test themselves on it, I want them to realize that it's like, yeah, this is legit. It's not trickery or anything like that. So, because sometimes people will even test themselves on the steel, and they'll push it out, pull it on it hard. In fact, one of the presentations I did back in Texas in 2021, where that video was made where they're smashing the concrete block on my stomach. One of the guys had said, he said he tested himself on the piece of steel. And he's like, man, how did you do it? I was pulling on it hard. And I said to him, I'm like, you want to know what the real secret is? He's like, yeah. And I said, be honest with me. When you were pulling on it, were you pulling with everything? And he says, no, but I was pulling on it pretty hard. And I was like, could you have pulled just a little bit harder? And he's like, yeah, probably. I'm like, and then could you have pulled just a little bit harder than that? And he said, yeah, probably. And could you have pulled just a little bit harder than that? There's always more. There's different levels of exertion, right? And just like there's different levels of materials. And it's like you pick with something that you're pretty sure that you can get, even just to wrap your mind around the fact that you can do this. And then you work your way up to something that you can reliably get that is still going to be impressive to the audience. And that's not just with chains. That goes with every feat. When the same thing with steel. It works with nails. It's like you could bend some like really wimpy looking nails. And even though a 60-penny nail, 6-inch spike, is not difficult for me, it's still amazing to the audience. Same thing with the carriage bolts that I do. You know, like something that you can reliably get. The one exception to that is wrenches. Some will go, some you can't even move with a sledgehammer. But when I put the wrenches into my show, I put it in knowing that there's a pretty good probability I'm not going to be able to get it. But that's to illustrate a story within my show, which is that sometimes you fail. And it sucks, but it's okay, because you only truly fail when you quit. Anyways, Twisted Trailer Park Tales, I hope that answers your question. You're an up-and-coming strongman, and the fact that there's not a whole lot of us around these days is I do try to help the up-and-comers, because there's plenty of room for all of us, and what we do can potentially make a difference, as well as keeping the art form alive. Something small that you say to someone in your audience could potentially change the course of their life to come. But for all the rest of you, I hope that you got value out of this video. If you liked the video, let me know by hitting that like button. If you want to see more of this sort of thing, subscribe to the channel. You can also catch the chronicles from my various performances across the country by subscribing to the channel. If you think anybody should see this, please share it with them. This YouTube thing isn't rocket science. And if you want to support the channel, you can pick up a copy of my book. Links are in the description below. Or you can also potentially provide a super thanks. And if you have a super thanks that contains a question, I'll shuttle that to the front of the queue as a way of thanking you for thanking me for providing this information. But that is it for today. Please stay tuned for the next time. And in the meantime, please stay happy, healthy, and strong. Eric Moss, over and out.